Hi guys, Freight Train here. I just wanted to come on this morning and make a quick video talking about our upcoming summer adventure through hiking the John Muir Trail. The John Muir Trail, or the JMT as some people call it, is a 211-mile scenic trail starting in Yosemite National Park and going south, ending on Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the contiguous United States. Some people also start south and go north, but generally people hike south starting in the lower elevation regions and finishing with that epic finish on top of Mount Whitney. The John Muir Trail is actually one of the most famous and coveted backpacking trips in the entire world, known for its temperate weather and incredible views. Unfortunately, because of this, getting a permit to hike the John Muir Trail can be quite a challenge. You have to apply to a weekly lottery 6 months before your intended start date. We applied to this lottery every single week for 9 weeks before we finally were able to get a permit. And even then, we were actually pretty lucky. I think every time you apply for a permit, there's like a 3% chance that you might get it. So we were super excited to finally get our permit, and now we are fully into planning and preparation mode. So the permit that we were able to get starts us from Lyle Canyon going towards Donahue Pass. So that actually cuts out about the first 20 miles of the trail. So what we're going to be hiking will be probably closer to 200 miles. But the end point is on top of Mount Whitney, so we have to hike about 15 miles down after that too. So we'll probably end up hiking around 215 miles on this trail. So there are a few new challenges that we're going to have to learn to deal with on the John Muir Trail that we didn't necessarily have to go through on the Appalachian Trail, the Tahoe Rim Trail, or any of our previous trips. The first of these is having to do long resupply carries. On the Appalachian Trail, at most, we pretty much had to go about 6 days or so carrying our food, and that, felt pretty heavy on our backs. So there is a stretch on the John Muir Trail where we have to go about 110 miles without resupply, which translates to probably about 10 days of food that we'll have to carry. And this is made even more difficult because all of our food has to be stored in bear-resistant canisters. So we can't just shove our food in our packs. We have to be very careful about what food we're bringing. We have to ration it carefully so that we don't run out. So that's going to be a new challenge. We're going to have to kind of reevaluate our meal plans, things that we eat, find some stuff that are slightly more calorie dense and small. And that's just going to be a real challenge, trying to fit 10 days of food into our bear cans and on our backs. Another challenge on the John Muir Trail that we haven't experienced before too much are large river crossings. We crossed a handful of rivers on the Appalachian Trail, but they were all pretty low and nothing too intense. However, due to the incredibly high snow that we've gotten this year in the Sierras, almost triple what they usually see, the rivers are going to be incredibly high and some of them very dangerous. One river in particular has a bridge that was completely destroyed during the snowstorms this year. Due to this, we're going to have to do some alternate routes to maybe go around this bridge. It might take us on a detour just to get around this area. So that is something that we're paying very close attention to see if the river levels go down enough by late August, early September, that we will be able to just walk across the river. And if not, we're going to have some backup plans in place so that we can circumnavigate that bridge. Ever since we acquired our permit, we have been excitedly planning, poring over maps and details, and reading up on trail reports as much as we can to try and plan this hike as much as possible. Now, logistically, there aren't that many options for resupply along the John Muir Trail. It's a very remote trail. It doesn't pass through any towns or anything like that. Very different than the Appalachian Trail. So you have to really plan your resupplies ahead. The trail does directly pass by several resupply options, but most of them are in the first half of the trail. And like I've said, the second half will be a long 110-mile carry. 3 or 4 days into the trail, we'll come to our first stop, which is Red's Meadow Resort. We will have to send our resupply package there, which they'll hold on to us. They also have a store, so if we needed to, we could just pick up and buy whatever things that we need there. But we'll probably mail ourselves a pre-packaged resupply so that we have everything that we need and we know that we won't be missing anything. Another 4 or 5 days along the trail, we'll reach another similar spot called the Muir Trail Ranch. We'll mail our resupply there and pick it up, but that's pretty much the last place that we'll be able to stop and get food until the end of the trail. However, there is one alternative option, and that is if we were to hike out over Kearsarge Pass. With about 60 miles left in the trail, we could take this alternate path, which would be 7 miles out to the road, where we could hitch into the town of Independence and pick up new food, hitch back, and then hike all the way back in. We would prefer not to do this because that would probably take about a day and a half out of our hike. But I think we'll just play it by ear, and if we're running low, if we miscalculate our resupply, that will be like kind of our last resort option if we need to run out and get more food. Another thing that we're doing to prepare is practice hikes. We found on the AT that one of the best things that we did to prepare for the trail was to just go out on practice hikes and practice with all of our gear and just get to know the area that we're going to be in. So that's what we're doing. We have several weekend trips planned to go up into the Sierras, just to kind of dip our toes in a little bit, practice with our gear, just get a little more comfortable with the area. And I think that will do a lot to help us feel more confident and prepared for the trail. We really could not be more excited to hike this trail this year. It is going to be such an awesome experience. I just really can't wait to immerse ourselves in the Sierra Mountains. We're going to film the entire thing just like we did with our previous hikes. So if you're interested in following along, please like and subscribe. And we'll be posting more videos about our practice hikes as we get closer to our start date. Maybe we'll put out a gear list too with what we finally decide on for gear. So stay tuned. We're super excited. I hope you are too.